Are you struggling with motivation? Can't get going or easily distracted? Maybe you lack stamina, determination, or persistence. Together we can fix that, and here's how. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter which helps with motivation. It drives you on to achieve your goals, and in doing so, you likely become more successful, higher status, and of course, more desirable. Now, I read about an experiment where some lab rats were deprived of dopamine, and they pretty much stopped doing everything, including running around, self-grooming, trying to make, even eating. Many of them starved to death for the lack of motivation to eat. Just let that sink in. This is how important dopamine is, and it shows the motivating power of this neurotransmitter. So, why are adult entertainment videos so damaging? Previously, I'd rather lazily thought of them as harmless enough, consenting adults and all that, but I was dead wrong. The moment you access a website of that type, your dopamine levels rise. That happens when you're with a real woman, of course. But when you have a one-to-one action with a real woman, the dopamine level gradually tails off. That's natural, and it's the natural satiation mechanism. And I think that's where the sense of calm comes from afterwards, so to speak. But with adult entertainment, you can click from one video to another, to another, to another, and keep spiking your dopamine again and again and again. This is unnatural, and the brain, as a self-protection mechanism, disengages some of its dopamine receptors. Well, you can guess what impact this has. Just like the lab rats, your motivation drops precipitously. In addition, the repeated exposure over weeks and months and sometimes years can drive you on to some more extreme stuff as your brain normalizes what you're seeing. Just as an alcoholic needs more booze to get drunk, you tend to need more extreme imagery to get off. This can lead you to some dark, dark places. Now, when you look at some of the young and indeed not so young men these days, you begin to understand the stereotypical loser. These guys play hours of video games, eat junk food, look at lots of adult entertainment. They're typically unemployed or have nothing type jobs. They typically still live in their parents' houses. You can bet they don't exercise much, don't have girlfriends or any real goals. And a lot of this stems from dopamine overload and subsequent brain shutdown. They just don't have the internal chemical motivation. As well as a lack of motivation, you can see other symptoms such as brain fog, fatigue, fear and anxiousness, and in some cases depression. Just as an aside, by the way, Mary Jane, if you see what I mean, can exacerbate this as well. Now, there is a solution. If you commit to stop watching adult entertainment, your brain can heal. The dopamine receptors will once again become sensitive. Humans are one of the few species that throughout their lives retain neuroplasticity. This is important. Now, how long this healing process will take depends on how many receptors have shut off and how long you've been watching for, but there is a fix. Commit to stopping. Now, I've heard an allegation that the CIA were using adult entertainment as a weapon of war in Afghanistan. The idea being to demotivate enemy troops. Understand this, and you see what an act of wild self-sabotage this really is. There's another massive benefit of view quitting. These sites are wildly popular. The vast majority of men partake, some casually, others more chronically. If you don't partake, you will have higher levels of motivation than the vast majority of men. You really will be a 1%er. You will be amazed at what you can achieve. Now, I'm also talking from personal experience. I'm about 2 months into this process, and I can confirm some of the reports I've read. Your energy levels are much enhanced. It's a remarkable benefit. Your libido and your, please see the screen for the phrase I want to say now, YouTube gets a bit jumpy with this algorithm, is like nothing you've experienced before. Also, your strength increases, which I think is probably due to increased testosterone, and reciprocally, your body fat will diminish. After about a month, you'll start to see women paying more attention to you than you can believe. I don't know if this is a pheromone thing or just a result of the increased testosterone. Maybe you get more confidence come alpha dominance. Maybe it's a better physique. Maybe it's a combination of factors, but I can tell you it's real. There are other things you need to look at if your motivation is flagging, because other things can trigger your dopamine, but in my experience, this is a big one. Adult videos aren't great. They give you a poor and unrealistic representation of women. They are highly exploitative. Also, have a look at the suicidality of former adult movie actresses. These are all good reasons to stop watching, but you too will experience massive benefits. More motivation, more energy, more mental clarity, more focus, more strength, more confidence, and yes, more attractiveness. So, set yourself a 90-day challenge and please let me know how you get on. I'm going to finish this with a request. This has been about men and self-pleasure. I can't find much on whether or not this affects women. If anyone knows anything, please leave a comment if you wouldn't mind. And if any of the female listeners are willing to give this a try, please ask for contact details in the comments. I'd be really interested to see how the experiment goes. If you like this, please like, recommend, and subscribe.